don't put the word my, and like my depression, my fears, my anxiety, like don't claim it as yours. This is something that is affecting you, but don't claim things that God hasn't called you to be. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you are new, I am so glad that you are here today. So for today's video, I am bringing pretty much a new segment to my channel. It is going to be called Soulful Sundays. So the purpose of this video is just to send out weekly encouragement. 2020 has been a terribly hard year for a lot of people, including me. And part of the type of person I am, I consider myself a very spiritual, religious, whatever you want to call it, type of person. And sometimes you can slip spiritually, and you know, with the worries of the world and the stress of life, sometimes your spiritual life and your spirit can just get down, and you can just tend to slip, whether you just be so busy or you just be discouraged. So I want to offer a certain type of transparency to my channel. Honestly, I don't even really feel like doing this video, but I feel like God is sparking something in me to do this video. For the past couple weeks, I've just been like kind of in like this down, you know, type of mood. Like I haven't really been feeling like myself. In psychology, they call it seasonal depression. When it starts to get dark early, it starts to get cold outside, you know, things tend to shift, and that can affect your mood, especially if you're already going through something in life, or just the weather, like the atmosphere. Nature in itself can affect your mood. And really, me doing Soulful Sundays, it's really me talking to myself. But I know that on my YouTube channel, if you saw my About Me video, my YouTube channel is going to be offering transparency, encouragement, testimonies, anything that you can think of. So these type of videos are going to be they're going to be conversational pieces. So make sure that you comment down below, make sure you share this video, make sure you give it a huge thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, you know, all of that stuff, so that we can keep in touch. And yeah, don't want to ramble no more. Let's just get into this video. So like I mentioned in the intro, something that I have been experiencing for the past couple months, and really like over the past couple weeks, is depression. And like I said in my About Me video, I consider myself a Christian. I, you know, am a follower of Christ. So there are multiple ways to get your mood back up. You know, you can go to therapy, you can talk to friends, you can work out, all of those things that I recommend. But I think as a Christian, the first thing that you should have in line is prayer and reading your word. And I'm not a minister, I'm not, you know, a Bible quoter, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I strive to be a Bible scholar. And honestly, in the past probably like maybe year or so, I have been like slipping and like reading my word and praying every night. Not saying that I totally don't do it, but the word says that you're supposed to pray without ceasing and meditate on the word day and night. So it should be something daily. And God recognizes that we may not always be on our stuff. So the purpose of this video, the purpose of this segment is just, you know, I'll come up with a topic and I'll come up with a couple verses, discuss how the verse personally touches me, and make sure that you guys comment down below, because I want to know that these type of videos are reaching out to somebody, encouraging somebody, blessing somebody, because life is, if you are like me, 2020 has really been so hard. Like, I mean, I know for everybody 2020 has had some type of difficulty, because one, that's just life, and two, COVID, three, personal things like unemployment, death in a family, loneliness, anxiety, depression, like anything. Like 2020 has been a hard year. So I actually picked out a couple verses dedicated to this video, and the topics are anxiety and depression. I struggled with anxiety here and there since 2017. I got into a really bad car accident, and anxiety kind of puts you on like alert for no reason. You always, personally for me, anxiety has always had me feeling like something bad is about to happen. Like I have to brace for impact. I actually heard, I was watching August Alsina's documentary, and he described it perfectly. Like, you always feel like you have to brace for impact. Like you always feel like you can't relax because something, like, what's the next bad thing that's gonna happen? And I really struggled with that, especially this year. Like in 2017 when I had my car accident, of course you have like anxiety from driving, like, oh my god, I'm gonna get into another car accident, like, oh my god, is somebody about to swerve my lane and hit me? Somebody gonna, you know, run the red light and hit my car? So that's something that I haven't had to deal with as of lately. Every now and then I get like car anxiety. It's not as bad as it used to be, but lately this year, and all of these topics, depression, anxiety, post grad depression, death in a family, mourning, grieving, therapy, all that stuff, I will be doing like separate videos on. I'll be praying about it because it's not easy to talk about, but I know that I have the responsibility, since I have a platform. Like, I don't only want my channel to be about good stuff. I want my channel to be a platform where people can come and get encouragement and talk about the stuff that you may not want to talk about, because a lot of topics in life are hard to put into words. So I know that the Bible says that we overcome by the words of our testimony, and we're supposed to talk to each other and confess to each other about the things that are going on with us, whether it be physically, financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. We are supposed to, God gave us a mouth so that we can talk and we can discuss these different types of you know, experiences. And not only are we supposed to discuss it so that we can overcome it ourselves, but the words of our testimony encourages other people to say, you know what, she's getting through it, he's getting through it, she experienced this and her life is better now, or she's on the other side of what I may be going through and she made it through all right, so I know that I can make it through all right. So I think it's very important for me to touch on those type of topics. I don't only want it to be about fashion and traveling, like the good life, because social media tends to put a spotlight on only good things. Like my friends and my therapist have been telling me, like, social media, people on social media control what they allow you to see. So you can look at somebody's Instagram or somebody's Facebook or somebody's Twitter and be like, oh my god, they living a good life, but it kind of like sets up this facade that people's lives are perfect, and it's not. And you may be comparing yourself, and I'm really talking about me, you may be comparing yourself to somebody else's life, or you may be comparing yourself to your peers, saying that, oh, their life is going so well, like we're the same age and I don't have what they have, or somebody's getting married, or somebody's traveling, or somebody's having kids, somebody's graduating. Like, you may be feeling like less than because you see other people doing what you want to do eventually, or you know, in the present or in the future, or you may be having some regrets from the past because you're comparing yourself to other people. And that's why I want my platform to be transparent, because life is not always good. Life is not always good, and everybody is not always going to be honest with you, because one, people like to put up fronts. People don't want other people to see them sweat. People don't want other people to know that they're struggling mentally or they're struggling financially. So we tend to, you know, put up these fronts as humans, or, you know, I mean, we may not want to be transparent because we've been hurt before by somebody we were transparent with. So I think that it's important to discuss these things mentally and emotionally, and even, you know, health-wise, those things can affect you physically if you don't control your mental and your emotional. Like, you know, you may be having thoughts in your head mentally, and then emotionally it comes out because you're crying. You may cry so much you end up getting a headache, and you know, physically you don't feel good. Physically you may not be feeling good, so you got to take off work, and you know, that affects you financially. So everything is tied together, and at the top of the tree, I think I in my personal life feel like if you're not right spiritually, you know, everything else tends to suffer. So with that being said, I'm going to read a couple verses. So the first verse that I'm going to read is Proverbs 3:5-6. So it says, trust in and rely confidently on the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight and understanding. In all your ways, know and acknowledge and recognize him, and he will make your path straight and smooth, removing obstacles that block your way. Beginner's Bible tip: I usually use the Amplified version simply because I think that the Amplified version, I understand it more. But don't be scared to play around with versions. Just make sure you do your research, because you know, some versions, you know, may word things differently that they shouldn't be worded. So just make sure you do your research first. But I used to use, sometimes I still do use the children's version, because God, I don't think God, in my personal opinion, I don't think God really cares how you know, read the Bible, as long as you're reading the right information and you know, you understand it. Like, don't try to psych yourself out reading the Bible the way that your parents read it or your grandparents read it, because you know, you'll end up not understanding it, and then you know, the things that you read will just go right over your head, and you know, you're right back where you were right before you picked up your Bible. So yeah, that is just encouragement. Sometimes things can get so hard to the point where you're just like feeling hopeless, and you're like, oh my God, how am I gonna get through this? Just remember that you have defeated 100% of the struggles that you have ever encountered in your life. If you're still alive, you have defeated everything, and you're still defeating, you're still kicking life's behind, you're still fighting. Because one thing that I've had to tell myself is that life is, until you're dead, things are gonna keep happening. So you can't really, life is never done. So you just have to keep going, and you know, just stay prayed up and stay encouraged, so that, you know, just remember that you have beat 100% of the struggles and the battles that you have had to face in your life. And just remember that if God has gotten you through something before, he'll get you through it again. And like I told y'all, 100% of the time of these videos, I'm really talking to myself. But like I said, I'm sharing this encouragement to other people, because I know I'm not the only person going through something right now. So, you know, the Bible says that you have brothers and sisters all over the world that are going through the same thing that you are going through. So be encouraged. You are not going, it may feel like you're going through this alone, but you're not. So the last verse that I'm going to read to you guys is 1 Peter 5:7. So it says, cast all your cares all your anxieties, all your worries, all your concerns once and for all on him. He cares about you with deepest affection and watches over you carefully. So I really love that verse simply because sometimes things that you can be going through seem like it's like a new age problem, or you may be feeling like you're the only person that may be going through what you're going through. And I think that it's interesting that the Bible talks about anxiety, and it's just like a good feeling to know that, you know, there's a name for what you're going through, and God recognizes that thing that you're going through. You know, because sometimes you may feel like God, like the thing that you're going through is so little, like it's not a concern to God, but he cares about like every single thing that you're going through. And you know, you guys know that I took up psychology, and I plan on going to grad school to become a therapist myself, eventually getting a PhD and all that stuff like that. 2020 has had like a huge way of teaching people exactly what mental health is. And you know, people tend to think that like things like anxiety and depression only affect certain people, when it can like you're never too successful, you're never too rich, you're never too happy. You know, things can be going completely right in your life, and these things can hit you. It's not, you know, when something major happens, it can, you know, hit you at any time. So it's good to know that the Bible talks about mental health, especially like in the Black Christian community. You know, people tend to turn a blind eye to mental health and things that psychology talks about. So it's just good to know that God cares and sees it all. Like it's not about what people tend to acknowledge about the things that you're going through. It's about what God chooses to acknowledge, and God chooses to acknowledge every little thing, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant you may think that it is. But it's just, for me, it feels good to know that God acknowledges things like anxiety, because it can be a silent killer. Like, a lot of people cannot put a word to the things that they're dealing with. So, you know, just be encouraged and know that it's not the end. Like, it's not. One thing that I'm also learning, another thing that I'm also learning is that don't put the word my, and like my depression, my fears, my anxiety, like, don't claim it as yours. This is something that is affecting you, but don't claim things that God hasn't called you to be. This is just my weekly encouragement. I may do this every week, I may do this every other week, I don't know. Just, you know, drop it down in the comments if you guys feel this, if you guys want more of this. Drop down in the comments any type of topics you guys want me to talk about. I am open and willing to talk about everything. You know, I will just pray on it, because things like this, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. Like, I don't want to just be freestyling. Like, I want God to give me a word, because I never want to stray anybody away from, you know, what the word says, or, you know, a purpose that God may have on somebody's life. Like, I don't want to talk against anything, but, you know, I just also want to give a disclaimer. I am not, you know, high up in ministry. I am not, you know, a Bible thumper. Like, I'm learning. Like, I'm still a baby in spirituality and religion and stuff like that. I'm learning. And like I said, I want to be able to take my platform on that journey with me, because, you know, sometimes I do feel like I'm alone, especially as a 24-year-old. Like, a lot of people in our generation don't really care about religion and spirituality. You know, not to bash anybody, but it's something important to me, and sometimes I feel like I'm alone in this journey. But I want people my age, people my race, people, you know, in my demographic to say that, you know, she's here to help me along this journey. And, you know, we can, you know, just build up a community where people feel like they have a safe place to come to, and a safe place, and a safe and honest place to come to. So yeah, y'all, that's all that I have. Make sure you guys share this video. Make sure you guys like this video. Send this video to somebody you feel like may need some encouragement. And don't forget to subscribe, turn on my post notifications so that you are notified each and every single time that I post. In the words of one of my favorites, Iyanla Vanzant, go in peace and not in pieces. But I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.